BeatStars.com. 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 BeatStars.com.
That boy's music is fuego. 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 Dylan got it bumping. Dylan got it bumping.
What's going down? Welcome to BeatStars Comedy Jam. Everybody in the chat is really having amazing stand-up careers. Uh, I'll tell you why it bothers me when people would always say that I looked like Joe Rogan, because it was always the bald head thing. Number one, I don't think I look like him, but number two, I'm not bald. It's actually a pain in the ass to T-blade and shape myself up. So if I were bald, I think my life would be easier. Anyway, shout out to everybody telling the jokes in the chat. I'm looking forward to today's conversation. Of course, I just have a couple announcements, and they're good announcements. Tuesday, December 7th, mark your calendars. It's another episode of Battle of the Type Beats, and this matchup will be between J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar type beats. So submit your beats at beatstars.world/opportunities. Shout out to Marcus. He just put the link in the chat so you can click on it directly. And yeah, you can win $50 in promo credits and be crowned winner of Battle of the Type Beats, which is not a distinction I can put in my Twitter bio yet, but I need to get on these. The other thing, and I think a lot of people have been requesting this, BeatStars is now offering gift cards, and this is the perfect gift to kickstart someone's music career. They can be found at beatstars.com/gift-cards. The link is also in the chat, so you don't have to transcribe what I'm telling you. Cool. Let me catch my breath, because I was laughing so freaking hard at Miles and Bufo and everybody else in this damn amateur hour chat comedy room. And I'm going to welcome a special guest that I have had on before, and hopefully will continue to have as a guest. Tantu Beats, what's going down, sir?
Hey, what's up, man? How are you?
How are you feeling, man? How's everything going?
I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. Just had I just arrived back home from a pretty busy week. I flew to Belgium for a live show there, which was great. And yeah, I'm now kind of setting things up again to get back into a creative workflow to yeah, to get going with the beat making again.
Yeah, don't think I don't know about your Belgium trip. I'm gonna ask about that. So we're closing out the year, moving into 2022. What was your favorite project from 2021?
Ooh, I think back in September I hosted a beat battle, which I did for Lay's, the chips brand. We might have even like talked about that in the last talk we had, but so I did that in September. I created a sample. I created 3 sample packs out of like chips sounds, like using the bags as like source material for sample packs, and I gave these away for free download, and then people had to use these sample packs to create beats, which they could submit for the beat battle, and then uh, I gave away some cool prizes to the winners, and that was a very interesting sponsored project, like sponsored by a major brand for like a pretty niche, yeah, how do you call it? A pretty niche kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty niche demographic, pretty niche audience, but I guess companies are starting to see the writing on the wall, and
Yeah.
there are so many creatives out there, and I think with the internet, niche marketing is a lot easier for companies. So I assume you're going to start seeing a lot more large companies reaching out to influencers who aren't necessarily, no offense, who aren't necessarily like global celebrities. Like Tantu is cool, he's not a Kardashian.
Uh,
But you know what I mean? Like
I'm glad I'm not.
you're still an influencer in a very specific space, and so you have a reach that the companies are starting to see the value of. So I think we're going to start seeing more of that. Couple questions. So you made a couple kits out of chip sounds, which I never thought I would say. Do you remember who the winners of the battle were?
Yeah.
You want to shout them out?
Oh yeah. One of the winners was Pink Guacamole. I
Of
forgot his
course,
producer,
that's
but
an
that's a
appropriate name for a chip
good
battle. Yeah.
one. Time Melly and Jesse. Jay Vermillion, that's his producer name. Jay Vermillion.
Okay, that's a
But they
familiar
killed
name.
it. They killed it.
Okay, cool.
They made some crispy beats.
When when you're there are so many puns right now. I'm trying to not think
Yeah.
in those terms. Um, but the chips are up for them. When you're making these kits and you're recording these sounds, how do you clean them up? What is your advice for someone who's because the chip sound is different from using a drum kit. You're gonna have background
Yeah.
noise. You're gonna have all types of stuff. How do you make the sounds as crisp as a baked delay, and how do you make the audio clean?
Man, I can't top the puns, but so it's a pretty rough process because like whenever it's okay, let's say I record a bag of chips and I shake it, the audio is not going to be clean like you said. So I always start off with, of course, like what I always do is I make like 4 minutes of recordings, and then when I start with creating samples, I just go through the 4 minutes. I'm like, okay, this sound could be this sound could be that. Let's say I hear like a shaker part, which I'm like, okay, if I loop this, it would be a cool shaker piece. What I will then do, I will cut that piece. I will loop it. I'll put an EQ on it to begin with. Then I'll probably pitch it around. I will record that back into like a new channel. From there, I will maybe even reverse the thing. I will put saturation on it, compression, maybe some stereo imaging. Maybe I find another shaker bit which I could combine with that piece that I already made and like do one bit, one of the stems, put that left, the other one on the right, and then from there like give it like a cool stereo feel. Then I might bounce that to audio, and I will make it like I will, let's say that the original shaker was 100 bpm, I'll turn it into 150 bpm. Then I might reverse it again, pitch it down, put it through the whole same chain with the compression and saturation again, and then save it as a sample that I'm putting in the pack. And then it's nowhere. It's like almost not recognizable as being a crisps or chips. What do you guys use in the US? Is it chips or
In the
crisps?
U.S., we say chips. Crisps is
Okay,
is
chips.
the United Kingdom version,
Yeah, okay, chips. Okay, I'll keep it
because
as chips.
chips to them are fries to us.
Yeah, right. Okay, yeah.
This
That's what
is
I
such
learned
a
in high
yeah.
school.
We're talking that it's an interesting conversation to have during a producer interview. Do you ever, and this is something that I know is tough, it's you got to be careful with this kind of thing, but do you ever um have to reduce noise, like remove white noise, that kind of thing?
Yeah, depending on the sound you're trying to create, of course. So if I'm making a kick out of, let's say I hit the bag of chips. It, it, it's like a lowish noise. It has some sort of punch in it, but it still has a lot of high end because you're still hitting a like a plastic kind of bag or a paper bag, whatever the material is. And of course, when you're trying to make a kick, you're gonna have to filter out a lot of that low end. What I would, for instance, do with it for creating a kick drum, I would also use like two source materials. I would try and find a material that could like have the function of the low end of the kick, then like create like a punchy low end thing with like a proper kick envelope, and then search for another part that I can create like, yeah, which I can use for the top of the kick to give it like a crispy, so it sticks out through a mix more. But the example I just gave about like the shaker loop, that also goes for like for kick drums, snare drums, any sound I think of. But the bottom line of what I was trying to say is that um, I just do a whole lot of processing, and I don't necessarily think about like, okay, if I do this, then it's gonna sound like this. I just I just feel like, okay, what do I want to add to this? I don't really think about it. I just do it, and then in that process of doing it, I reflect on like, okay, oh, let's say I'm working on a shaker sound, and it turns out to be like, oh, this actually sounds like a snare. I will continue making my decisions as if I'm trying to make a snare. So it's just really, if you're trying to make samples, and I'm sure like a lot of one shot creators or drum sample creators would agree with, is that you just need to like process over and over and over and over again. Like maybe you need sit like you maybe you need 20 plugins. It doesn't matter as long as it comes out the way you like it.
So just experiment, basically, is what you're
Experiment
saying.
is like that's like the major. That's the only thing that you kind of need.
Is there a particular flavor of chip that makes the best snare sounds?
Um, well, the one I liked best was teriyaki chicken.
Okay.
It was really good.
Yeah. And it makes good hi-hat and kick
Yeah,
patterns.
it makes great sounds.
Did we ever talk about this? Your Twitter bio says I'm also a platinum producer now. Is that new?
Oh yeah, no, that was damn, I haven't done that. That was 2018 or 19. Damn, that's been a while. Yeah.
I don't. I feel like I haven't talked to you about this. Tell me about going platinum.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll.
probably because it's been such a while ago. That was I produced a track on a well, I saw the beat through. I think I found the beat on YouTube. It was like this famous Italian rapper. His name is excuse my pronunciation, but Jimmy Tag,
I
Gimme
don't know any
Tag.
better.
Yeah, whatever.
Sounds good to
Gimme
me.
Tag.
Yeah.
And he found the beat. It was like a Dr. Dre type beat, and he found it, and then he recorded a song on it, and he bought the exclusives. And then they released it on an album, which was like number one for like damn weeks in a row in Italy. So it went platinum. But I didn't get the plaque because for some reason in Italy they don't give out plaques for full album certifications, which is a bummer. So I still don't have a plaque on my wall. I also have a platinum song in Argentina for Paulo Londra called Relax. But I have been trying to get in touch with the people giving out the certifications there, but I don't speak Spanish, and I even tried to email in Spanish, I think, but I just don't get any answer. So
I never even thought, because I imagine some of the projects I've produced on have certifications in foreign countries, and I wouldn't even know where to start with
yeah,
those agencies. Let me know when you figure it out. That's so weird. Okay, so that the first platinum record that you produced, you said was a Dr. Dre type beat. I know
yeah.
your most viral YouTube video that has I don't know how many millions of views is a Dr. Dre type beat. Are we talking about the same beat?
No, I wish that beat is a whole different story. I made a
Okay,
big mistake from which I learned a lot from that beat. I think that's interesting to talk about.
okay. Let's talk about it. That wasn't one of my questions. Tell me about that beat, and then kind of tell me about
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
mistake
so
you made.
the platinum Dr. Dre type beat, I think it had like 70K views, but I took it offline for the buyer. So that was like back in 2018. So it isn't online anymore. Um, the so I have for the audience, I have one Dr. Dre type beat, which is still like, I think if you search for Dr. Dre type beat on YouTube, it's still the number one that pops up. Yo, anyway, well, what's up? Sorry, and so I sold that. I made that in 2015. I put it online in 2015. It got quite some traction. Like it got quite some views. I dropped it around when Dr. Dre dropped the Compton album. The beat is called Compton as well. And I think it was around New Year's. I dropped it in August. It was around New Year's. It had like 100K views. Was doing quite all right. And someone bought it exclusively for like uh, $700, 800, something like that. Like back then, my exclusive were pretty cheap because I didn't really realize the value of a big catalog yet.
Okay, I see where this is going. You really messed
Yeah,
up then.
yeah. And
Oof.
then it blew up like crazy, and I couldn't sell any licenses anymore.
Yeah, you could have
Um,
probably made 70,000 off that beat.
yeah,
Damn.
yep, yeah. That was an expensive lesson.
Wow.
That was a
Okay.
whole year's salary there.
Yeesh. Um,
Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
but yeah, yeah. Sorry.
no,
Interesting
sorry.
enough, like I'm still making something off of it through the YouTube monetization, of course, because like the
Yeah.
contracts, like I'm still the author of the beat. So even what I did is I registered the beat alone to my PRO, like in my publishing thing. I've actually made like I've made quite some money um, with just the publishing rights on that beat because it's being used like like on the freaking background of like news items and stuff like randoms. Really, I remember someone sent me a video like watching the news in France and with that beat on the background. I was like, wow. How
And
does
you
this
don't know
work?
how they got that?
Nah, probably just someone searched for Dr. Dre type beat. It was like, yeah, we need like a. This is like a. I don't know. Maybe it was like about some ghetto ass thing, and someone from the yeah whatever. The editor was searching for like ghetto beats or whatever content.
Well, it's weird that they didn't contact you and license it, or
Yeah, yeah, I have no idea.
that doesn't seem I- that doesn't seem right. I mean, I know you deal with a lot of sync licenses and so forth, and they contact you. It's more formal than just them going on YouTube and
Yeah,
using your beat. Because
I
if
have
if
no
you
idea.
never found out, you wouldn't have been collecting on it, I don't think.
Yeah. No, but right now, of course, like the audio of the beat is just in this what's called like a sound like this a sound idea that's being it's in the Netherlands we're using the PRO in the Netherlands is using sound. I forgot the name. Some sort of algorithm that scans all media as well, like radio, TV, all that. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'm still getting paid off of that beat, although I sold it exclusively, which is kind of interesting to me. But yeah, I'm the author of it, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna dwell on what could have been. I think you
Yeah, no,
still
oh,
are
man.
fine. But it's tough because I think a lot of producers, I find myself in that position all the time, and I've definitely made that mistake where I drop the beat and within a week someone makes an exclusive offer and I say, yeah, sure, cool, let's do it. And then 2 weeks later it goes viral.
Yeah,
And I kind of should have known. I feel like it's almost a good indicator if someone is making an exclusive offer right away.
yeah, word.
And then you kind of, I don't know, what do you do now when people ask for exclusive rights to a beat, and now that you've kind of made that
Yeah,
mistake already?
so my prices are a bit higher. I asked like, I'm not gonna say how much I ask because like it differs per situation and like if it's a label, I don't want people to be able to go to that live stream and say, yeah, I hear you said that you asked for this, but now you're saying you want this. But the price is higher, and I'm a lot more hesitant for selling it. And foremost, like it really depends on who's trying to buy it. Actually, if just someone with like 400 followers is trying to buy the exclusive, I'm like, I rather not. Like, I would rather keep that opportunity for yeah a label or a bigger artist, someone who's really gonna put money behind the art, so that the publishing right the publishing rights which you have over the sold beat, which ends up being the song, are still somewhat valuable or can be somewhat valuable. You're kind of transferring that you kind of have the idea that you're transferring the chance the monetary value of the chance of the beat blowing up to the monetary value of the song blowing up, you know? So
Yeah,
yeah,
and how do you know that? You can't know. It's a gamble.
it's a gamble.
So let's back up to your Brussels trip. I saw that you just performed to, I believe, 1,800 people in Brussels. Tell me what that was about.
Yeah, so that was a show I did with, or I was the DJ for Joost, which is one of the main artists I work with, and yeah, he's from from the Netherlands, which is north of Belgium, but we speak the same language, so his audience is also in Belgium, and yeah, he hadn't done a show in 1.5 years. So me neither, because I used to be his DJ before that as well. And yeah, he had his own, like he rented out like one of the biggest venues there, and he hosted his own show, which was sold out and was pretty crazy. It was yeah, the crazy part is like the next day Belgium would go, like they went in lockdown again through COVID. So it was like the last show of the winter, I guess, the last show of the year, pretty much probably in Belgium. So I guess that added a bit to the hype of the audience there. 'Cause they were like, okay, we're gonna party one more time, and yeah, everyone went freaking nuts, man. Holy shit, that was really something else.
What advice can you give producers who, because that's actually, I'll say this, the reason I started DJing, many years ago was because I wanted to be included in the live performance. I was seeing rappers perform on stage to music I produced, and I didn't feel part of it. So
Yeah.
I wanted to be a part of it. What advice can you give producers who want to start performing more?
Yeah, first, I guess you have to decide whether you wanna perform on your own, or you wanna be part of an act, or like a bigger thing. Do you wanna be booked for your producer name, for instance? Because I don't do shows. I like, if someone tries to book Tantu Beats for a live gig, I'm gonna say no, unless it's like a whole lot of money. But like, I'm probably gonna say no because I don't really like the pressure of having all eyes on me. But I do enjoy being on stage, and like you said, being part of my music being delivered to a live audience, and getting like receiving some of that energy, because I really felt again last Saturday when we did the show, like it really fueled me in a way where I'm like, okay, yeah, the music I'm making in this room, like it's actually having impact on people. But you can't really see that, if like, of course you see people post it or listen to it or whatever, but like seeing that in real life really gives you a fresh perspective, like, okay, oh yeah, I'm actually doing something. But anyway, a tip I would give is, well, first think of that. If you want to do gigs on your own, then you have to decide, okay, what genre am I gonna DJ? Am I gonna DJ, or maybe are you going to perform live with synthesizers and maybe loop stations or whatever? Then it's gonna be a whole lot more complex. Like, I can't really advise on that. Mm, but yeah, I think, yeah, just if you have an artist you work with directly, I would definitely just ask them, like, yo, okay, we're making this music together. Do you maybe want to do the shows together as well? If you end up having shows, like maybe that artist is still small and is not having any shows yet, but you can already like kind of create that commitment together. If like that's one of the goals the artist has for the future.
Dope. Let me timestamp that. Of course, I typed it wrong. When we last spoke, you had worked on a campaign for Lay's, and then you had subsequent beat battles. So it sounded like a pretty complex partnership. It wasn't just a
Oh
one-time
yeah,
deal.
that was it. So yeah, I first created a beat video making a beat with bags of chips. And then they wanted to extend the partnership because they were like, oh, we really like this. Um, can we maybe do something else? And they were like, yo, because they first they just wanted me to post a picture with the chips. And then I was like, I upsold them on the idea of making a beat with bags of chips. And then when they reached out to me for the second time, they were like, okay, we really appreciated your creative input the last time. We want to give you all creative freedom. Just let us know what you want to do and what kind of money you want for it, and we'll see if we can make it happen. So and then that's what I thought of.
How did they discover you to begin with, to reach out and
Yeah, I
even
think
offer you a
there was this media agency or like commercial agency, and I think genuinely they were just kind of scrolling through random Instagram profiles, like, okay, who is cool, like who looks cool, who would we want to link with Lace? I think that was it because it went through a media agency. I ended up like being in contact heavily with like the actual PepsiCo office, but it started with yeah, just a media agency, that like a social media agency, you know.
Yeah, so so they reached out to you, and instead of you just saying, "Okay, cool, I'll take a picture with a bag of chips and post it to my Instagram," you actually said, "No, I don't want to do that. I want to do something more creative and involved."
Yeah, exactly.
And they went for it. They said, "Yeah, make a beat
Yeah,
with our chips."
yeah. I
Okay.
was like, okay, yeah, nice, thanks.
And then how did it evolve from there? And is it still ongoing, would you say?
Well, I'm really trying to manifest, and that wasn't an idea I've had for like even before Lace reached out, but I really wanna do a TV commercial where the commercial is about me making music with that product, whatever that product is. That can be a bottle of Coke, that can be paint. I don't know. I don't care. I just want to do something like that. And for a TV commercial, that would be my dream project. That would be like the end game for me for like making turning things into beats or samples.
Okay, but does it help that you've been doing that already for so long and already had content go viral, and also obviously the fact that your content is high quality. I mean, the video quality is great, the editing is great, the audio is great. If you didn't have that, these companies probably wouldn't be reaching out to you, right?
Yeah, yeah. So they want a trustworthy partner, of course. If they you know, like creating quality content, sometimes it seems like too much of a hassle for like the algorithm, because like sometimes it's just the dumb things that go viral and like the things you don't put really effort in. But when it comes to these kind of projects and like working with major brands, also with major artists, uh, like focusing on quality really is gonna pay off, and that proved itself with these kind of videos, because I had something to show for when I pitched that idea to them, because I showed like the beat I made from the Niagara Falls sounds, all these things I did, and they were like, okay, we're consumers, we don't really understand what you're doing, but we get it enough, like the quality is high enough that we get that this is cool, and let's go from there. So what you asked, like whether it's an ongoing project, so they definitely were open to collab again in the future, and I really hope that they will reach out. um, but I also pitched to them like, yo, if you're planning to alert, so it was with PepsiCo, so I said like, okay, if you guys have any other brands that you want to do this with, or like maybe do a TV commercial with, let me know, because I can set it up for you. Like I will get it done.
And you have done commercials for other companies since then. You did one for KFC, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Was that connected to the Lay's partnership?
No, no, that
So
was
that was
completely,
completely separate.
yeah.
Tell me about that. How did that start?
That was with Joost, the guy I performed with last Saturday in Belgium. He was asked to do the commercial, and since I'm his main producer, he asked like, "Yo, do you want to do this with me?" And then we dove into that project. That was not last summer, but the year before. So that was summer 2020. Um, and yeah, that's been on TV for a year and 2 months, 3 months now. They extended the license till I think January is going to be the last month.
How do those deals work then? What, like in terms of payment, in terms of ownership, what are you
Yeah.
giving up and what are you getting in return?
Yeah, so the artist gets a production um, uh, fee. Like they get money that they can spend on the production of their music. Well, I'm the producer, so I'm getting part of that money. And then but that's like a one-time flat fee. But then there's also the sync license. And the sync license is divided between the owners of the music, which usually what I learned. I'm still looking for some kind of confirmation in that, so maybe you can give that. But what I learned is the synchronization license is always split through half the master rights and the publishing rights. So let's say someone gives 10K sync license fee. 5,000 is for the master owners and 5,000 is for the publishing owners. So the other authors of the music.
I'm making an assumption here, but is Yoast independent?
Yeah.
Or is he unsigned? Like he owns his own masters?
No, he has his own. Yeah. He has his own label.
So in this instance, that 10,000, let's say I'm not going to ask you specifically how much they paid you, but let's say it was 10,000. The two of you get that 100%, right? You don't have to share with a label.
Yeah, no, there's no like the back then there was a manager involved, which takes some cut, but it was yeah. So there's not a label or anything because I wasn't even I didn't even have a publishing partnership with BeatStars and Sony back then. So yeah, I
So
mean like
you got
yeah.
everything. You got every bit of that.
Yeah, we were
Nice.
able to make like a deal together. Like, okay, what do you get? What do I get? And yeah, yeah,
Was that an easy conversation?
it's 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 difficult because I don't really I don't really enjoy talking about like money. For like it's because creativity is always first for me. Like I try to create first and then think about like, okay, what's the monetary value of whatever I created and how can I turn this into something valuable. And so yeah, it can be tough, but it's never been a hard conversation for me so far. I think maybe there have maybe been some other artists I worked with where it was a bit more difficult, but never it never turned out to be like a impossible to solve conversation. Like it always turned out to be like okay, you always have to give in a little sometimes. That doesn't you always have to give in a little sometimes. You sometimes have to give in a little, um, but yeah, it's the way business works. I think like you have like a private relationship with someone. There's a business relationship and there's a creative relationship, and
Yeah.
it's really tough, but it's very important to not let these types of relationships you have with each other to let them kind of mold together. Like it's important to see the distinction between like okay, this person is saying this to me from a business relationship perspective, not from a personal perspective. But of course, that can be like a bit clouded sometimes. But yeah, and it's always
Yeah,
been okay.
it can be clouded, and I think it's hard for it not to be. Okay, speaking of the KFC commercial, congratulations, you won a Dutch Creativity Award for
Oh yeah,
that. I didn't even know that exists, but I'm not,
no, me neither.
I'm not in the Netherlands. How did that go down? Did somebody just mail you an award at
Yeah, no.
one day?
So there's these awards, and then the commercial agencies who kind of create the projects. So like the creative agency, they pay people for the music, they pay people for the video, they pay the director, etc., etc. And then when they have their final product, which is the commercial, they go to these award shows, which you can sign up for. I think they even have to pay to sign up for these award shows, and then they use these awards, which they can get with that as leverage for future brands they can work with. I think that's the idea around it, and that's also why it costs money. But yeah, I hadn't heard of it either. apparently everyone who's in like the commercial business, at least in the Netherlands, like knows of it. So I did get some messages like, "Hey, I saw you won this," and I was like, "Oh, I have no idea what it is, but cool. I'll pick it up."
Is
But
there something going on with you and DHL, or was that just an Instagram photo?
oh no, that was just a joke.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe they should have paid me for that. I don't know, but it was a friend of mine from the Netherlands. He was over a friend with who I run a Wavegarden, like the producer platform thing. I have. He was here, and he's always rocking a DHL jacket just for fashion purposes. And I saw a DHL car, and I was like, "Yo, man, can I wear your jacket and make a picture?" That was the story. And then I had an old beat, which I called DHL beat type beat, and then I put that in the Instagram post. It was really that deep.
Good marketing. I'm talking about it. So, just point blank, how does a producer get sync placements, i.e., placements on commercials or even more involved campaigns like you did for
Yeah,
Lay's? If a producer asked you, how do I get that? What kind of advice would you give them?
network. Yeah, that part of the game is really. I mean, just like a lot of other parts of the music industry, but network's very important. Creators of commercials, of film, of whatever, they have a problem, and their problem is we need music. And the person that's gonna give the easiest solution for their problem is gonna get the job, not the best person. So you have to be on top of people's minds. That's that's the most important part. And the way you do that, like there's a lot of different ways to do that. You can join a company that's like actively pursuing getting in contact with these people. Like you can get in touch with like a publishing sync company which really focuses on getting their music on MTV or whatever. Or you can network yourself, get your foot in the door, like in like media agencies. Like go to the conferences where these kind of people go. Not even necessarily for music, but they might still be looking for music. So that could be something. Um, yeah, I think that, and it's all, of course, when you get bigger, like when you get a bigger audience, like once you have more cultural impact with your music, it will start coming to you as well, of course.
So I saw a video that you put, just a clip that you posted of you making melodies on your phone, on your iPhone. Actually, I just got an iPhone last night, so I'm not like
Oh,
completely in
nice.
love with it yet. But it looked like you were using maybe GarageBand. It sounded really
Yeah,
good. What were you using?
yeah, GarageBand. It was GarageBand. Yeah, so when I'm in my bed there, sometimes I'm like, especially on the days where I haven't created anything yet, because there's definitely these days where I'm just like doing artworks, uploading beats, communicating, having calls with people, etc. Um, where I haven't created anything, and if I want to get into a creative mood, I personally I have to create for a certain amount of consecutive days, and for me to keep that ball rolling a bit, just making something on my phone right before I sleep gets me a bit more going when it comes to the getting creative ideas. So let's say I create something on my phone in bed every night for the whole week. During the day, I will start getting musical ideas which I want to translate on my computer as well. And if I don't do that, it might very well that I get into a more business mindset, which is not as creative, and I don't really get the urge to create music at all. So it's just a way to catalyze, if that's a word, catalyze my
Oh, Catalyze, yeah.
to catalyze my creative
Got it.
fuel.
You post a lot of content, a lot of it's video content. Do you do all that yourself? Do you edit and shoot yourself?
Yeah, yeah, everything. It's a lot of
What
work.
program do you use to edit your video?
Adobe Premiere Pro. I just use.
Uh-huh.
I have this Adobe bundle with just like all the software from Adobe. So After Effects, Premiere Pro, Photoshop. But that's the kind of I mostly use Photoshop and Premiere Pro. Sometimes After Effects, like rarely, but sometimes.
Got it. Here's a question that I meant to ask you the last time we spoke, and you already mentioned Wavegarden. Tell me about Wavegarden. What is it? How did you start it?
Yeah, so it's something I started a little over a year ago, and it started out as just a Discord server, pretty much. And because I felt like, I really enjoy creating sample packs. I really enjoy creating content for producers, but at the same time, I also like doing things for artists. And I needed a kind of a getaway for the content that's for producers, because I felt like I was starting to cloud my Tantu Beats brand, which is it is for artists. Like that's the way I make my living. So it's mostly for artists, and I wanted to create a platform on which I could put content, whether it is now like I started doing blog posts there as well, sample packs, of course, free sample packs. The Discord server in which I'm sometimes hosting like challenges and stuff, doing live streams. I just needed a hub pretty much for my content that I can do for producers. And my friend Alex, which is doing all the branding for the and like all the designs for Wavegarden, like he's been a friend of mine, like a very good friend of mine for like over 10 years. And after I started that, we figured that it was a great opportunity for us to like start working together on something, because we've always had like a great collaborative um, yeah vibe. Like every time when we work together on something, it always turns out into this super cool creative product, which we both really like. So we teamed up on that. So I gave him half the business, pretty much. And yeah, so we're trying to trying. I definitely want to do more branded deals, because like what I did, I took the Lays deal, and they were approaching me, but I kind of stuck it to Wavegarden. Um,
Okay, because it was all about sound design.
yeah, so I'm like I'm kind of the founder of it, and like at this point, like all the traffic, of course, for the platform is almost all coming through me.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're trying to see like if we can maybe like create it, turn it more into like its own entity that can really exist separate from my own brand. Um, but yeah,
What's the Wavegarden website?
wave.garden. So WAV, like the wave file extension thing. Dot garden. Garden is like a domain thing now. You can
I
buy
didn't
that.
even know that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
All right, let's switch gears. What are some beat making mistakes that you made early on?
Beat making. So like you mean the creation of the beats, or more like the selling of them?
I'm sorry, I misspoke. I meant beat mixing mistakes,
Oh, mixing
especially
mistakes.
given now that you've focused so much on sonics over the last couple of
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. Oh man. Mixing mistakes. So I think it's sort of mixing, but also arrangement. So what I used to do back in the day is I just put way too many instruments in my beats. Like that was like the biggest. But then of course, like you can put a lot of instruments in your beat. Like if you want to do that, if you want to make it feel like a big sounding kind of thing. But then you have to mix it in a way that there's still room for artists, because like and that's probably like the first 80 beats I made, and they're still in my catalog. but but they're really hard to rap on, because there's just like these random lead instruments coming in like halfway the verse, where you're like, oh wait, that's not the melody I had in mind. Okay, now I have to stick to this. It's like it's all super distracting. Although like like the thing is, the pro is that they're more fun to listen to, as a just like it's more like a listen type beat, not really like a rap beat. um So that's something that I really had to get used to, and also because I've never really rapped or sung myself. I never had the ambition to do that. So it was hard for me to understand, like, okay, what kind of space do I need in my beat to a vocal to fit in? And when I started doing more sessions with artists, that became clear to me. Like it was very clear every time I'm in a session. It's very clear, like, okay, this instrument I'm adding right now is way too much. It's not gonna make sense. So what I do now to make sure I don't make that mistake is if I'm not sure if an instrument should be there, I will leave it in and I will start freestyling to the beat myself. Sounds horrible, but in the recording process of that freestyle, I can immediately hear, like, okay, wait, this instrument's really putting me off my attention to the words I'm trying to come up with.
So that's a good strategy. What advice can you give a beat maker who's struggling to mix their beats? You know, like what are some resources that helped you when you were at that stage?
Um, yeah, patience first of all, because like doing good mixes is really comes to just training your ear and training your ear. You can do that, like you can train that maybe on purpose, but it's also just something that develops. A being is super important. So if you're not sure, like the way, like if you're not sure that your beat sounds right, you can also always listen to other beats or other songs, and you can listen, like, hey, okay, I hear that the low end here is actually way lower in volume. Why am I cranking up my low end so much? Maybe because I'm insecure that my beat is not energetic enough, or but maybe because you're doing that, you're kind of creating the opposite effect, and you're kind of taking away the energy. Sometimes, with the right mix, you don't really have to. Yeah, like it doesn't necessarily mean that the loud thing is like something loud is going to give the most energy. And that's something you definitely learn through a being. Something else is just getting to know, like, that's the biggest thing for me, and that's always been the biggest thing. Getting to know your speakers, getting to know your earphones. Just make sure that whatever you're using to listen and to create your beats, that you know exactly, like, how other music sounds through it. So use that same material, the same headphones, the same speakers. Use it to listen to other music. Um, so you kind of subconsciously get to know what what defines good on your speakers, on your headphones. For instance, I always check my mixes on these, just like just regular iPhone
Yeah.
headphones. And I don't even check them on headphones anymore. Just these things, because I know I've listened to thousands of songs with these, and I just know I don't even have to A/B, because I just know, like, okay, this is the amount of low end that's supposed to be uh, in the beat when I listen through these headphones. So that's very important.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's great advice. You recently tweeted, maybe not so recently, maybe a year ago or so. You tweeted, just sold another $150 license to a beat from March 2010, literally 10 years old. Catalog is the most important thing in music. Period. Can you explain why a catalog, in your opinion, is the most important thing in music?
um, Yeah, so sometimes, yeah, like I said in that tweet, sometimes I'm still selling beats which I created 10 years ago, which I uploaded 10 years ago. Because I've been doing this since 2000. I started uploading beats in 2009 and started selling them in 2010, 2011. Um, but, when it comes to creating, like, a stream of income with music, and you're reliant on the music itself, and you're not, like, doing a lot of mixing jobs, or like the things that you can just invoice someone for the hours of work you did, right? We can't necessarily, we can't really do that as producers. So if you have a catalog of beats online, whether it's on Spotify, whether it's on BeatStars, whether it's on YouTube, whatever. Every song is generating sometimes it's just a couple of cents, but it's or pennies or whatever. Like it's generating some value, and some of the work you have done in the past 10 years or past 2 years or whatever will start gaining value again over and over again. And the bigger your catalog is, the bigger your tail of work is, the greater the chance that something gets picked up. It's kind of equity in culture. You're just what how I always see it is every work I make, every beat, every song, every whatever is equity in culture because I'm adding to culture with the music I make. Because it's yeah, whether it's hip hop culture, whether it's beat selling culture, whether it's some form of culture, I'm adding to it, and I cannot be sure that everything I create is really gonna make actual impact in the culture. And it's like the more impact you have on the culture, the more monetary gain you will probably get. Most of the time, it's not always like that, but most of the time. So when you have a big catalog of music, you're just creating more equity and more chances of having some impact on culture, so to say. Mm, and all these little micro payments also, like let's say every beat you create 8 years later is only generating maybe $10 a month or whatever, on average. But you have 500 beats, that's 5K if everything is generating only $10 a month on average. Then you're still making $5,000, for instance. um yeah, I believe in the like in like the how do you say that, like the e-commerce culture or whatever they're calling it, long tail strategies. If people want to learn more about that, you can search that on Google. It's for instance, it's the way Amazon uh, makes its money, or at least started making its money when they were doing when they were selling books.
Well, yeah, if you
uh,
compared it to physical products, it would amount to having many products in your inventory, different
yeah,
products, diverse products.
yeah, because how Amazon like got big financially is that they just had this huge catalog of books, which like these obscure rare books like no one's gonna buy, whatever. They just had so many, but they had a system which printed on demand. So they had all this catalog, but they never had to stock, like they never needed like an inventory to really print these books and put them like on the shelves there before they were sent out. They were sent the moment they were created, the moment um, they got ordered. That's when they got printed. So they just had so many books that like they had this whole tail of all this catalog of books, and like all these little single sales they just added up. And of course, like some books got very popular and get many more sales. But that's how they solved that problem with physical goods in this case. But we don't have that hassle with beats. Like we don't have to do
Yeah,
anything.
we have it pretty good actually.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. We don't need expensive systems to be
No.
able to sell our products. Shout out to BeatStars.
Yeah, seriously. So let me talk about a tweet that you sent out pretty recently. You put out a post with 3 points to remember about selling beats online. I want to talk about those 3 points with you quickly. Number one, your first point was BeatStars is not an ATM.
When did I tweet it? Whoa, I can't remember it at all. What was the what? Do you want to go by point, or do you want to read the
Yeah,
whole?
point by that's the first
Okay, okay.
point. So have you seen in the producer community, is there an expectation that if you put beats on BeatStars, they'll just instantly
Oh,
sell?
hmm,
Because I've personally I've
yeah,
seen people get producers get really upset.
yeah,
Say like I've had my
yeah.
beats
People
out
like
for
actually getting upset. Like, yo, maybe I'm paying for this membership or whatever. Why am I not selling? Indeed, it's not like okay, you're putting your beats up there and you're getting money in return. Uh, you you have to you have to do the whole marketing part pretty much yourself. I mean, BeatStars can help with that if you have the right contacts, if you have like if you already made some impact or whatever. But
Or if you watch, the videos and join in conversations such as this, which are free and open
exactly,
to the
if
public.
you put time and effort in it. So yeah, just pretty logically thinking, it's like, yeah, it's not an ATM because you're not putting something in and you're getting money out. It's a service. It's a platform that makes it easier for you to sell, but
But yeah,
easier
you
is not.
should put your
Yeah,
beats on BeatStars. You definitely should put your beats on BeatStars.
yeah.
Um, Sorry, that was a question I just got sent to me. My phone is anyway. A lot of distractions. It's number two. Your second point was it takes a lot of networking, marketing, and quality control work. What is quality control work in your experience, and how have you done it in practical terms?
Yeah, so that's the quality control is very different for everyone. Some people decide to not have any quality control, for instance, and that can be a strategy as well. With quality
I
control,
wonder,
I don't
I
necessarily mean
wonder if
like,
that applies to me. I don't.
oh no,
Let's
no,
see.
it's I feel like quality control isn't necessarily about like, okay, is this good or not, but it's more about, does this fit into my catalog? Does it make sense for me to upload this? Is this something that my existing audience is actually looking for, or is it maybe something which kind of distracts them from my brand? Like maybe it doesn't really resonate with the brand I'm trying to create. Because I have a lot of beats which I'm not uploading because I just feel like, okay, I see like I see a certain niche within the beat selling market of like a certain type beats, which are like kind of organic sounding real instruments, etc., these kind of things. And that's what I'm trying to focus on myself. So I'm trying, like, all the work I create and upload is like is focused like mainly on that. If I create like a heavy trap beat in C minor, the chances of me uploading that is are slim because I just feel like, okay, I don't think my audience, like, part of my audience discovered me through this niche I'm trying to put work in. If I'm now like trying, if I'm just gonna, how do you say it, ignore the branding I've been doing the past years or months, it might not really work. I might get some sales, but it might not add to the long term game I'm trying to play. That's something like that I see as quality control, which is tough sometimes though, because
It's
I
really
personally
tough.
don't. Yeah, I don't really want to be limited to a genre, but like things like the YouTube algorithm, they kind of force you to think that way. I'm sure you know how it works with like the whole being
It
trending and
sucks, man. I'm kind of focusing more on a core sound on YouTube, but then with BeatStars, I kind of upload whatever.
mm,
And the thing that I learned is too. I'll just say this. I'll probably say this a lot throughout the rest of my life, but I don't really know shit. I mean, I
mm,
can I can make educated guesses with regard to um, business decisions, musical decisions, that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, I might go against my own instincts, upload a beat, and everyone loves it. All my customers, I was waiting for you to make a Spanish guitar up tempo drill dancehall beat, whatever, just
yeah,
something
yeah.
totally left field for me. And they love it and it sells. And I've seen it happen I saw it happen with I think Taylor King. One of his biggest beats was him doing something totally different from the norm for him, and it
Mm,
blew up. And then for some people it doesn't work. So how do you really how do you make that determination? How do you make that
yeah,
judgment?
yeah.
We're
It's
talking about
it's tough
music, it's
because
so subjective.
it is. So yeah, it's super subjective. So sometimes I'm uploading a beat. I'm like, okay, this one's gonna be like, people are gonna love this, and it's like,
Yeah, and
no,
they hate it. like it gets
Like
no traction.
no one cares.
Oh my
No
God.
one cares.
That's the worst. But that just goes to show you it's kind of humbling because you think, okay, I
Yeah,
know my audience so well, and then you realize, no, I guess I don't know them as
yeah,
well as I thought I did.
yeah, yeah. It's and
Okay, so
that's
we're running. Damn, fuck, we're running out of time.
no worries.
So just last question, just 'cause it'll be short. Your last point, because it was a 3-point tweet.
Oh, yeah.
Your last point was be patient and consistent. You said you started in 2010. How long did it take you to actually become a professional music maker from when you started in 2020
Yeah,
in,
I
in
mean, I
2010?
still lived with my parents at that time, but like 2013 was the year I had my last job. And I left my parents' house in 2015. So I guess like that was the point where I really had to pay for everything myself and had to pay my own rent and stuff. So then I would say like either 2013 or 2015. So that's I started in 2009. So that's 4 years or 6 years.
Okay, so yeah, it's a long game, and I think a lot of people will maybe give up after a year or two, and they
Yeah,
may be a month away from reaching that
yeah,
that milestone. So appreciate
100%.
you putting that into perspective. I do not have a meeting with Joe Rogan after this. So how do people follow you on social media?
At Tantu Beats, TNTU Beats. The name is here as well, or it was here. Oh, now it's gone. Oh, there we go.
There. Sorry, every time if I pin
But
a
without the
comment.
space. But yeah, just on any platform, anywhere. That's it.
All right, man. Well, once again, I appreciate it. I have questions left over, so maybe we can punt it to the next interview,
Anytime,
and
man.
hopefully you win another what was it called? Dutch Creativity Award.
Who knows? Maybe next one I can do the US Creativity Award.
If there's one that exists, I wish you
Let's
all the
go
luck in the
for
world.
it.
All right, shout out to everyone in the chat. I'll be back same time, same place next week, 3 p.m. Dame and Aaron will be here on Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as well for another music business mentorship program free session from the MEC.